Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to a very special presentation for you we have here at Nerd Culture. Here's the skinny. A new trailer has dropped for one of the most anticipated movies of the year. A director is finally going to see his vision come to pass. Specifically, we are talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. A new trailer dropped today on the interwebs, and we are going to talk all about it because believe me when I tell you, I got some thoughts rolling around in my head. My guests today have a lot of thoughts rolling around in their heads. Let's introduce them real quick. Nick is joining us. Nick, how are you?
I'm so good. When I saw the trailer, I got my shirt that I got because of the movie, and I'm feeling pretty darn good right now.
You feel proud of wearing that shirt now?
I feel very – well, no, I wore it, and I was proud to wear it. But then I saw the movie in theaters.
And you took it off. Okay,
I kept it on. I was proud. It's like when your team goes and gets blown out in the playoffs. I still wore it with pride.
Still wore it with pride.
We still got there.
Yeah, there you go. That's one way of looking at it. Thank you for being with us here, Nick. Also joining us today, another member of the Nerd Culture family, Travis Troller is with us. Travis, how are you today?
Really good. I told these gents before we signed on that I wasn't paying attention enough. I was a little disappointed because I didn't know until yesterday morning that today was going to be a trailer day and not the actual film. I was under the impression it was going to be the film. I know I'm an idiot, but I have to take that with a grain of salt. But I'm happy nonetheless that we got at least a trailer, and that is what we're here to talk about today because there's a lot of stuff, and there's been high anticipation for this Snyder cut that I've been so waiting for. So I can't wait to jump in with you guys and talk about all the little tidbits that they're finally showing off because there's just there's a lot to address, and it's going to be good. It's going to be
exciting.
Absolutely. And before we dive into that, I want to let you know if you have any thoughts or speculations, maybe some theories about what you think is going to happen in this movie when it eventually releases on HBO Max, streaming March 18th everywhere. Feel free to drop them in the live chat in the comments section. We're going to be monitoring that as we go throughout the course of the show. We will probably bring up some of those comments on screen a little bit later on, but I want to give you just real quick. There's a lot of history about this movie. You know, first of all, Zack Snyder had a vision for the DC Cinematic Universe. Unfortunately, due to studio interference, family tragedies, and other setbacks, his vision wasn't able to come fully to pass during the beginning stages of the DC Cinematic Universe. But now, in 2021, finally, he is going to see Justice League come out. We're all going to get a chance to see what his vision would have been moving forward within the DC Cinematic Universe. And after watching this trailer, I got to tell you, I have not been overly happy or excited with the marketing up to this point, but this trailer definitely flipped a switch in my brain. It changed my tune. It changed my mind. I cannot wait to see this. I am jazzed. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen with certain characters, certain subplots, certain moments that are going to play out, whether it's in a nightmarish sequence or in the real world where certain villains are going to come down to Earth and try to destroy us all, and they need to assemble a team simply known as the Justice League. But before I get to some of my other thoughts, I'm going to turn it over to Nick. Nick, what are your thoughts on this new trailer that we got for Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Personally, to me, I was hoping to see some more like new stuff. I wanted to see like new characters, maybe a new plot points. But what this trailer did for me was reassure me this is not what we got in theaters. And I'm super excited for that. This isn't even close because right away it's showing the new gods are here because you have Darkseid and Granny Goodness, and I think it's Desaad, right? His left-hand man.
Mm-hmm.
You have all three of them right away, and then like Steppenwolf doesn't joke. He like goes to one day like, "I will take Earth for you." This entire movie is basically going to slowly tease Darkseid, and because it's 4 hours, we're gonna see Darkseid like a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
It's 4 hours. This isn't just like a. Oh, Steppenwolf's going to be the main villain for 4 hours. Absolutely not. He'll be like for like an hour, and they'll be like, oh, wait, there's another dude who's so much more powerful and could kill us like that.
Yes. I'm very much happy about that. I'm very much happy about that.
What bugged me about the first movie, Steppenwolf is not worthy of like a movie villain thing. He is a guy where he's like, it's like
or a main villain type of role.
He is a guy that Darkseid sends to kind of soften you up. He's not somebody that's really going to cause you that much trouble. Like, no, that's like a dude, like, soften him up, and then I'm going for the final kill.
Yes.
So the fact that it's actually Darkseid for once in my life, I get to see it, it's unreal.
Yeah. And like this route, it seems like they're actually they're actually going full throttle with it, and like, you know, we see in the trailer, we're actually getting a full look at him. We already knew that going in because of the fact that there's been so many social media posts of like you know, screenshots of him being taken. So it's no surprise that we finally get to see him in an actual trailer. But this time around, we're not just stuck with Steppenwolf. We actually get to see the main man at play, and not like, you know how they always hinted at like the hieroglyphs and like his symbol and stuff, but we never actually got like a look at him.
That's what it's been. It's always been like, oh yeah, he's there. But no, he's like actually here now.
Yeah,
he's
it
like
makes you feel like he's actually
there.
he's gonna play a major part. Like he's going to do something that is going to alter how the world is going to live. Like he's going to be a threatening force. And dude, I'm getting strong Thanos vibes from this guy, because like the shot that we see of him in the trailer. Yeah. I'm not like trying to say who's better.
Menacing. He's hovering over everybody. They want that he's going to be a major threat.
Well, because like even in the comics, they act the same. It's like Darkseid came first, and then Marvel 3 years later made Thanos.
Yeah.
But that's what a lot of people are going to compare him to. And the problem is, if that's your competition, especially with how Thanos has been in the movies, they have to one up him.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm just saying I really enjoyed seeing him, and I got by what I meant by I got Thanos vibes is just from what we've seen in the cinematic universe, because when we saw our first glimpse at Darkseid, he's literally walking up with like a whole army behind him, just how we saw like Thanos and Endgame and stuff. Like immediately, like that's just like that mirror image of like, oh, here comes the army, here comes the big bad, here comes the threat. What are we gonna do? You know, what can we do? Like that's just the type of stuff that like is really amping me up. Now, then again, I'm only going to take a bunch of subtle guesses and saying that from the little bits that we have visually seen of Darkseid, I'm going to assume that they're going to be more affiliated with the flashback sequences that have to do with the Amazonians and like the Great War and all that.
Oh my God!
And probably talking about like the history and like their first encounter with him, and then the rest of it's kind of talking about how, you know, he's not gone and his power still lives on. He still lives on, and he's somewhere in the universe, but he's coming. And I think it's them kind of really playing off of that, and then that's when they push more into the Steppenwolf and Justice League combatants situation. So I don't know how much different it's really going to be in that aspect of it, because I don't know how much Zack Snyder originally did film of that whole altercation before, you know, Joss Whedon and everybody jumped in and started taking over. But I will say that you can already tell from the trailer we're getting a complete aesthetic remake. We're getting exactly what we kind of got in like the little glimpse we got of him in Batman versus Superman, or Batman versus Superman.
Nightmare sequence, yeah.
Exactly, where he's not just wearing like what he was in Justice League with that like kind of charred like black armor. He's actually got like the silvery spiked like weird mesh tactile look.
Yeah.
You know, like we're getting a more unique aesthetic again with the Justice League, instead of something that seems kind of washed down, in my personal opinion. So like just that alone, you know, is something that really excites me, because I can see these characters, and I really hope that Steppenwolf gets readdressed in a more appropriate way, so that way he feels more like a threat than just a passerby like he did in the Justice League, because I didn't really ever find him too much of a worry when watching that film. So I'm hoping that changes at a certain point, because regardless, even though he's not the main man, I would really love to see him as a threat.
Like he's not a joke.
I would like it to be like when they fight Steppenwolf, even though we know he's not the main baddie that's on his way, I still want to feel like if this guy's this bad, I can only imagine how bad Darkseid is. I want to get that feeling.
And it's like, all right, thank God. And then you just see Thanos coming out of a boom tube like this, like, sup, noobs.
Yeah, I love how. What did you say, Thanos?
Yeah, no, I said Darkseid.
But yeah, who's the main?
You got me on Thanos, bro.
Yeah. No, but I always loved how Darkseid had the Morpheus stance.
Yeah, he just stands like this, like, and I will kill you. Like it's not a competition.
I gotcha. So some of the things that I liked about this trailer, and this brings up something that I just finished watching, Superman the Animated Series, okay? And I watched it on DVD. So I saw Darkseid's appearances in that show and how he was menacing and how he was going after Kal-El saying, if you will not be my knight, you will be my pawn, and how much of a threat Darkseid was. And that's just an animated series. Like you put him in a live action movie, it's a whole different set of cards. Granted, 2 different mediums, but I like in the beginning of this trailer, you see Superman dying at the end of the events of BVS. I mean, we knew we were going to get a flashback sequences to certain degrees. I like how they're addressing that and how much of an effect that has on not just the Earth, but like everything in the universe, like in Lex Luthor's monologue, the bell's been rung, the god is dead. This is going to take a serious toll on Earth.
I want to actually address that really quick.
Yeah, sure.
Ryan.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I want to I kind of want to go through. I want to make sure we don't miss absolutely anything about this trailer. So let's start off with the beginning. We open up and we see that image, that image of Clark just stab wound through the chest, and that's when we get that the bell has rung, and we're getting that reverberated echo effect of his last breath, his last scream, just cascading across the land. I was like, that alone
that means
made
it's
Superman's death like even more like crazier than what it was, because I'm just like the power that this man has, and the fact that like I don't know if it's just made for visual effect, but like what if Superman's like last death, that scream, was the final sign that like a Darkseid needed to hear him to know like, oh, this world's free for the taking now. Like somehow Superman, like, giving his life kind of played a part and opening the gates for Darkseid to enter. There's that whole dynamic that's being addressed. I thought that was really cool to start off with.
Oh yeah, for sure. And going back to what I was saying, like how his death is going to really affect everybody, not just everybody on Earth, but everybody within the universe, and how it's going to draw these characters in and bring them together as united. And other stuff that I liked about this trailer, obviously the nightmare sequence is fantastic. I think it's pretty, it's raw, it's depressed, it's like stuff that really, this trailer really gives us an idea, really gives us a better idea, at least for me anyway, where this is going to go, how dark and gritty this is really going to get.
It's rated R.
How much of a necessity it is to have Bruce Wayne and Diana bring these characters together and to fight off Darkseid and his evil forces. My goodness gracious. You got the Bat Tank in the background. And also, one of the things I don't understand, one of the things I'm a little questioning about this trailer, because this was blown up in the comment section of other threads that I saw on social media today. We'll just jump right ahead to the end of this now, because the end of the trailer, you have a nightmare sequence where Batman turns around and someone's saying these lines. And it's not just anybody. It's Jared Leto's Joker, long green hair, full on makeup, and
well before he got the role in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and he says these lines. We used to live in a society where honor is, what is it? Honor is no longer.
No, we live in a society where honor isn't a thing.
Honor isn't a thing. I'm curious, why is that line so significant for someone who may not be a hardcore DC fan? Where does that line originally come from?
I don't know if that line originally comes from anywhere. It's just like their own interpretation of just things we see in the past. But I can say, in my personal opinion, I feel like it's mostly impactful because of the fact that I've been hearing. Let's start from the ground up first. I would like to say that us seeing Jared Leto's Joker, we have been getting images of him before this trailer even came out, so it was no surprise that we were going to see him in here. And people are already confirming that these nightmare sequences that like Batman is having, these are kind of like supposed to be his way of like kind of being in his own head and kind of having these internal discussions. And it's actually supposed to be Jared Leto's Joker that's supposed to be on the other end of that conversation, kind of his questioning side of like morality and society and like how he's going about doing things, what is right and what is wrong, which is honestly kind of ironic and hilarious in its own way, because Joker of all people, and the reason why people are saying it is Joker that he sees in his own head is kind of like how they played it off in like Batman Arkham Knight, where it's like,
I was just gonna say,
because like it's like the reason why Joker's kind of stuck with Batman and stayed in his head is because deep down, like out of all the villains that Batman's ever faced, Joker is the one that's really ever put true fear into him. So that's why it's never really, he's never really left him. And he kind of, that's his image he puts that up for when he's questioning things. And I think that's a very interesting dynamic for when you're trying to put Batman and Joker on the screen, that, or, them actually like duking it out, going head to head. So I think they're playing it smart that way, because, it's not about Batman and Joker. It's not about just that one character in that dynamic. We've seen that story. We've heard that story. I'd love to see that story again. Don't get me wrong, but having that play off just for painting a better picture for Batman as a character, and kind of him learning stuff along the way that he has to kind of pass on to the other members and kind of heed warning. I feel like they're trying to play more for Batman being the wise man of the group, especially since I feel like they tried to establish in the films that he's the more experienced out of the group, even though he's probably not the oldest, obviously. But I just thought that was really interesting in a way. So that I really want to play into more, and I want to see a lot more. But I think the whole line about the whole There's no honor and whatnot. I think it's just that's one of those moments where I think Batman's trying to come to terms with the fact that we have this great force coming their way, and he's already questioning about how we're going to stop them. That's why he's trying to build the alliance. He's trying to get an army built and everything. And I think Batman, even though he's a man of solution, just and determination, just trying to solve the problem no matter what the cost. I feel like we see this in a moment when his back is against a wall where he's even doubting his own abilities and like thinking, I don't think I can do this. And then I think that line is very strong in that scenario because of the fact it's like, this isn't going to be an easy fight because you can't play this off of honor. Honor doesn't exist in war. It's like going to be down and dirty. Whoever wins. So it's kind of like Batman's own way of saying, I need to do what is necessary no matter what the cost is. And then from that, I'm very curious, what is that cost going to be?
So you're going with the psychological thing, like Joker's not even alive in this nightmare.
That's what I'm partially playing off of that. I mean, or it could just be that when he has these moments in his head, it's a psychological thing, but Joker is alive somewhere else. It could be.
Here's my thing. That is my 1A. That is 100% what I would love to see. But if they go this route, I'm not going to be too pressed either. Because in the ending, I also saw Cyborg in the background. It was like it was faded, but I saw like the metal like side of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw Cyborg. What I could hopefully like to see maybe is that you're right, Batman is hitting his lowest point out of all. And he knows the only way he can win is teaming up with Joker and the resources and the manpower he may have established in this nightmare realm. And the other Justice Leaguers are looking at him like, the hell you doing, bro? Almost something like he has hit his lowest point where he has to now like side with a maniac in a sense.
Yeah.
And
it goes back to the old saying, desperate people do desperate things.
That's what I'm saying. Like war brings out the worst in people, and this could be Bruce's worst version of himself. Teaming with the maniac who has done so many horrible things to horrible people.
So you're definitely assuming that these aren't just like these aren't like
I would love
in his own head.
Your theory, I would love to see.
Yeah, no, but you're thinking it wouldn't be bad if like this is actually happening
in real life, like in Gotham City.
It's not even like psychological shit. Like it's like happening right in front of him.
Okay,
he's making these poor decisions.
Then that's actually a very interesting theory, and I'm wondering that if they decide to go that route, then that opens up the question of is this just them going into the future and that's what they're living, or are they in a different realm? And regardless, that opens up the theory of multiple universes and time travel and all that stuff. And then that's when I feel Flash, Ezra Miller's Flash
is gonna have Flash is gonna have a time travel scene. Like it's
and speaking of the Flash, how do we feel about some of the scenes that were featured in this trailer where we get more of a backstory with
finally
Barry
get
Allen? We see his dad. We see him rescuing a girl who I believe is Iris.
Well, they had that in the original trailers, to be honest. Yeah, so like that one, like I wasn't too surprised when I saw that. They didn't add, in my personal opinion, as much new stuff as I would have liked for Ezra Miller's Flash. So I don't feel like he got as much of a shine as I felt like he did this time around. But still, I'm hoping that because this is the Snyder cut, the stuff that was in the older trailers that got cut out was because those were originally part of what this cut is. So now I got this strong sense and I have this strong hope that from what we're seeing once again, we're actually going to be promised that because that's what was originally intended. So I'm going to love to see that whole, like saving, him like without the outfits trying to save people and like the relationship with his father and everything. I want to see
saving Iris.
Yeah, I want to see everybody's backstory. And it wasn't a lot in the trailer either, but there's little snippets I've been sprinkling through the internet. I want to see more of Cyborg's backstory because he was supposed to have so much more of a build.
He's going to get it.
Know so much more about
Victor Stone's story. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Huge football star. And then obviously his life went to
Well, you see him in his varsity Letterman jacket in the trailer. And he's raising his hands up to the sky. He's like, what's going on? Something big's about to go down.
They were supposed to be originally, and I think that's what we're finally going to get here, this whole, montage situation of his life before the accident and everything and how he was on his way to being like a pro football player, all that stuff. His life was like looking good for him. But then all this stuff happens to him and it deals with the relationship with his father, I guess, trying to like, keep him alive and doing all that stuff. And we always
father actually died now. Did you see? Yeah. They're like really going like with his vision 100% because he survived the first one. Mm-hmm. And it's like straight up like he's dead now. Like they should have right in the trailer.
He's
dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're playing into the fact that after, like in the original Justice League, when we saw that scene with him trying to, trying to I can't describe what he was doing. He was trying to like build him up with the box, and then there was like some like energy explosion. They assumed he survived from that, but I think originally what the intent was that his father died from that in order to save his life. So now he has to go on living, knowing that his father sacrificed his life in a way to save his son. You know, and that's kind of hard on him. I think that's very interesting. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, this is going to be hopefully the cut where we're going to get more of the build up in the background, because Cyborg as a character, he fell on flat ground when we got him in Justice League, because of the fact that he seemed to play such a major part, and it looked like they tried to push it into the fact that he was playing a major part in the role, because like his body, it was the key, his energy source was the key mostly to everything, but yet then something got lost along the way in translation to the point where he just didn't seem like he was as relevant as he should have been. So I feel like we're going to get more of that in the Snyder Cut, which is good, like so good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think in a way we can all agree on this, that we're happy that Zack Snyder, and I'm happy for any director who is able to have their vision fully realized, fully come to light, with no backpedaling, no interference, no one reversing decisions. You make the call, tell the story that you want to tell with the characters that you have the access to, and just go for it. And he's going for it. And that's what excites me most about this movie. We're finally going to be able to see a director get the story out that he wants to tell.
Well, they're doing it because DC's latest success has been letting the directors do their thing. They let Shazam have its own movie. They let Aquaman, James Wan directed a great movie. Even Birds of Prey to an extent. The director came out and said there was a lot of studio interference. What would have happened? I don't know. But the main focus has to be now, WB is like purposely now trying to like make it their own. They don't want anything too risky, and that's what Justice League was. It was a very vanilla film. They played it incredibly safe, and they moved on. With this, they're going all out. They're like,
they're embracing the dark and gritty.
They cut the leash. They said, Zach,
have at it.
They said, go. And it's like everything. Because the best part is the stuff that was supposed to be rumored and be in Justice League is now coming in this. Like Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern are supposed to show up. Like that's huge.
That's true, but I still feel like, especially what we're given, I just don't know if that's going to be actually something that happens. The situation. I'm not holding my breath out for that.
I think the one guy came out and said he's in it as Martian Manhunter. He was the general in
No, I know. Yeah, I know who he's supposed to be, and I know they confirmed it and everything. But the odds of us seeing those characters, that's going to be.
No, he said he's in the Snyder Cut.
He is.
No, like he said, he's in the Snyder Cut. Look it up. I'm being so dead serious.
Oh, that makes me feel happy.
Marketing campaign.
Martian Manhunter was a G in the OG comic, or that comic side, the animated series I used to watch as a kid. He was so cool.
I wonder if we're actually going to get Martian Manhunter, or we're just going to get the general.
You can't have a 4-hour movie like that with something like this and not have him show up.
What if
personally, I wouldn't mind seeing the Green Lantern Corps get some
I want
time.
The Green Lantern Corps so bad. The movie messed him up so bad, and he needs to win.
Yeah,
Green Lantern needs to win.
I would definitely wouldn't be surprised then if it wouldn't be like they're in the final battle and all of a sudden we have like kind of a Captain Marvel situation where Martian Manhunter shows
nowhere.
Up. Just like levitating, like I will end them.
So. No, you just see the general like walk, like the league is like they're beaten up, they're like huffing and puffing, and then you see the general dude like
General Strongwick rolls up.
He's like walking past them. He's like, "What are you doing?" And like the parademons just start flying. He starts like chopping them in half, and then reveals who he is.
Yeah,
it's just like feels good.
He walks straight up to Darkseid as just a general, but it's like what could you possibly do? And then he goes and punches at him, and then he just catches it with one hand. And as he goes and looks up at him, you just see his humanoid form morph away into Martian Manhunter. He's like, I can do more than you think.
No.
I'm like,
punches Darkseid, the beginning to Gangster's Paradise starts playing. It's like, oh,
yeah. Oh. And like he hits him once, and then all of a sudden, like Darkseid just explodes in one hit. And like that was anticlimactic, but this shot's cool. And he turns away, and as he explodes, Martian Manhunter's just walking away, like, "Yeah, I got this, guys."
I don't know if this is possible for this movie. I don't know if it is. Maybe they'll throw it in there. Maybe they won't. I'm not sure. But there are two things I'd like to see happen. Two musical cues I want to hear potentially in this movie. One, if they play Gary Clark Jr. and Junkie XL's Come Together Right Now version, I wouldn't mind hearing that, which we've heard and seen in other trailers. Granted, it was for the theatrical cut. Different story, but still, I like the song. It's on my phone, okay? And door number 2, they don't have to play the entire theme song, but if we get little hints to the original JL or JLU theme song thrown in there, that would be nice.
Well, they probably will do stuff like that for little nostalgia touches, I would hope.
Little tidbits.
You know, you can only hope from a director like Zack Snyder. I feel like he's going to. In my personal opinion of him as a director, I feel like he's going to do this. No pun intended. Pun intended. Justice. So, I'm really hoping that this was just what we were meant to get.
Well,
like,
when you see his past work, you know he goes all out.
Yeah.
300 and Batman v Superman. It's like he didn't really hold anything back. He just kind of went with it. He went like, go.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. Like, some people will say that, Batman v Superman, it was kind of on the fence of whether you liked it or not, if it was coherent or whatnot. But then, that was another situation of, he was in a bigger game, he was in a bigger ballpark at that point, and that was early on in the stages when the companies were the producers were really trying to constrict him as best he could. So even when he released the director's cut, there was more to explain the story. It didn't really change the film overall that much, but it didn't, in my personal opinion, make it better. So I think it's just a pattern of, he has good work he's done in the past. I think this is his chance to finally shine and show us absolutely everything he needs. And also, I am 100% happy that this is a 4-hour film. I know how some people have an issue saying like, I'm taking 4 hours. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't have that time. Like, no, because everything I wanted, everything I needed explained, I'm guaranteed to get that now because of 4 hours. And if it's as good as I feel like it's going to be, that 4 hours is not going to be enough. Like, I feel like it's going to go by like that.
And taking a step back for a moment, a few years ago when Batman v Superman came out, the theatrical cut was 2:30. When the director's, I know it's called the ultimate cut, but director's cut, for argument's sake, the director's cut comes out, that was 3 hours long. And that didn't bother me at all because it explained more of the story and why we got to certain situations, why and how we got there. And also, granted, I like the director's cut of BVS, but I still fast forward. A
lot of people watch Endgame, and then at the end they're like, "Wait, that's it?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that was 3 hours."
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. It's hard to convince people to watch like movies like Wolf of Wall Street and stuff just because it's 3 hours long.
Well, look at Infinity War. That was 2:30, if not 2:45, and I enjoyed the heck out of that movie.
I think Infinity War was
good rule of thumb in filmmaking. As long as you have a good story, no one's going to care how long.
Exactly. You have a good story.
If it's good, you're sucked into it to the point where it's over before you know it, and you're like, "Oh my god, that was amazing."
Yeah. You have a good story. You know what you're telling. You know where the characters are going to be, and it works out in the end. I'm not going to care if your movie's 4 hours or 6 hours.
Well, you guys remember, it was supposed to be 4 episodes, like 4 1-hour episodes. And then they changed it saying, nope.
Just make it one giant film.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you know why I think that's a good process is because of the fact that, exactly, because when you have something like this, when you try to divide it up like that, there's those literal pauses in between the breaks that kind of is enough to get you out of it. And then there's that whole situation of every episode you have to re-engage them, take them along, keep them on a cliffhanger, and then repeat the process instead of just giving them this one all-out journey. I'm like, all right, let's invest you and let's go for a ride and let's give it this conclusion that's going to be just like impactful as all hell. Like, that is the way to go. That's why I think even though it's 4 hours, it is something we desperately need, especially if it's to play its part of redeeming the Justice League, the DC.
Oh my God.
Like, we really need this for, DC fans. I feel
if this goes well, this can open the door to more possibilities. And you both.
What I'm hoping for, like, I agree with you. What I'm hoping for is that this opens up the possibilities for the people that were responsible for putting too many hands in the pot and fucking everything up. I'm hoping
too many cooks in the kitchen.
Exactly. I'm hoping this is like the producers and everything learning that we need to step back and let the directors take creative control because they're going to give it justice. No
pun intended.
That is the pun. That is the pun of the day, everybody. Zack Snyder cut will give this justice.
He'll give it justice.
That's a new shirt right there. Hashtag DCEU deserves justice.
Hashtag save DC.
Yeah.
Save DC, baby.
We should probably put that on a shirt. Maybe we'll make some money off of that. Who knows?
I would buy
if this, I'll say this before we go to each and every one of us for final thoughts. We are going to turn things over to the chat room or to the comments section.
I've been seeing a lot of people
have been chiming in, and I want to bring these up on screen in a moment. But I want to say this: if this movie goes over well, and I want you to think about this, and we'll address the question after we go over to the comment section. Could we potentially get a Justice League Part 2? Think about that, and then we'll dive into that in a moment. But first, we got a lot of people chiming in here. I want to say hello. Ruth says, "Hi, friends." Hi, Ruth.
No,
we love you too.
It's not friends. It's Fwens.
Fwens. Oh, I'm sorry. There
Hi,
it is. Fwens. I'm not sure where that came from. But
and
anyway,
she has a smiley face with a butt lip.
I'm not sure where you're going with that, Ruth, but thanks for chiming in. We appreciate it. Josh wants to say, the bell cannot be unrung. Let's effing go already. Josh continues to say, I don't even care if this is a good film or not. I've waited my entire life to see Darkseid. Nothing can ruin this for me, says Josh.
Well, debatable. What if they only show him for like half of a second and then that's it? That might ruin it for you, but I don't think that's it. I think we're going to get just enough to
For 4 hours, we're going to see Steppenwolf.
We're going to, maybe, I don't know.
4 hours?
Just maybe, baby.
One of the YouTube viewers saying, not from this particular trailer, but my favorite line from some of the other marketing materials so far has been, I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells, he's never fought us, not us united.
Yeah, yeah, that was a line from the original trailers for the Justice League when it first came out from Bruce Wayne's character. Which honestly, regardless of how bad the movie was, there were still snippets that they kept in that were very good. Like lines like that are pretty fantastic, and we still get
their whole thing was unity.
Yeah, exactly, and we still get a sliver of that from Batman in this trailer. I just hope they're going to address it more of putting more of an effort towards trying to build an alliance, build a team. It's just like because Batman is a character having to learn to. I'm hoping to see more of a journey for Batman, going from the solo act of like, I'm going to do it all myself to having to put his trust in other people. Because we all know Batman is a character. That's not something he's willing to do. So I want to be able to see how he's able to personally get over that hump. Because for him as a character, that is a hump. And he's smart enough to know that what he has to do what is necessary. He's a strategist, he knows that if his only way of winning is to build an army, he's going to build the army and everything. So I want to be able to see that process of him going from solo act to group member, because I feel like that's going to play in a lot. And also, just like they did with the animated movie Justice League Doom, where they had like
I love that one.
Yeah, where they had like there were death traps created for every single member of the Justice League, and then yeah, exactly. When we find out Batman made it and all that stuff, I want to see that sort of aspect. I want to see these characters butting head in a more realistic and an emotional way with trying to trust one another, because I can't personally accept they all just like, oh yeah, we got a common enemy, I guess we should just fight. Like that's not real to me. I want to see inner conflict, or else it's just too easy. And I feel we're going to get that in the Snyder Cut.
I hope.
Sure.
My main problem though is they need to make the other members valuable. Kind of another problem I had with the last one.
Yeah.
They made them almost seem useless. Like Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg, Batman. They all almost seemed useless until Superman showed up.
They were just there.
When Superman came, he basically bullied Steppenwolf, and it was over.
Yeah. Was it? I can't remember what his line was in the beginning, but he says, I may not be this, but I do believe in justice. That's what Superman says when he wakes up from the dead and he fights, what's his name, Steppenwolf at the end of the film. David says, we live in a society, specifically a Joker meme. We talked about that earlier. Matthew Kern says, Joker has always reflected Bruce's dark side, no pun intended, and what he could be with no code. Also, he goes on to say, I agree. I love how Ben Affleck's version of Batman is the seasoned veteran to lead the Justice League, unlike how Superman is usually just the go-to leader within the comics or animated series realm.
Yeah, Again, it's really easy to take both cinematic universes, Marvel and DC, and find mirror images and stuff. And I find that I find that fun in my own personal way, because it's the same. They're kind of in the same realm, so they do reflect, but they're always really good. So I love that, Matthew. I love that comment about Joker being like the reflection of Bruce's dark side if he had no moral code, because to me, I see that personally kind of like as like if anybody's watched the Netflix series of Daredevil, when Punisher Frank Castle got thrown into the mix, my favorite line from that confrontation is when he looks at him and he says, "Face it, Red, you're just one bad day away from being me." I'm like, beautiful, because there's so much dark truth behind it, and that's what everybody loves about the dynamic between Batman and Joker, because that's exactly what it is. Like they share so much more in common than they want to realize, and Joker's the sadistic, son of a bitch who's able to thrive off of that, while Batman sometimes chooses not to accept it, and he has to fight that. And part of his learning is to be willing to accept parts about him that he's probably not proud of, and that's the type of stuff you want to see. That's good character development right there.
It is. Yeah, no, dude. There you go.
No, I was gonna say a funny side note, and also it's funny enough. This movie celebrates 30 years being young this year. Kern says Silas Stone, the father, had to die, or else Skynet would be able to assist Darkseid and take it over the Earth, which is in reference to Terminator 2: Judgment Day, which turns 30 years old this year.
I was gonna say that's Terminator, right?
Yeah, well, it's Terminator 2 specifically. And then Kearns goes on to say, if it's a 4-hour film, that's a lot of time for just many characters to show up.
Yes.
Green Lantern,
Matthew, I will agree. Listen, I will agree with you, Matthew, that 4 hours is a lot of time for people to show up. But bear in mind, even with 4 hours, it is still very easy to over-encumber and overstay your welcome. It has to be done precisely. It has to be done right. So let's hope that we get what we want, but in the best way possible, because if they just start throwing things into the mix, then we definitely tread into dangerous water of just like a mess and a smattering of just a bunch of random things, which is kind of what we got in Justice League a little bit. I don't think that's going to be the case, but let's cross fingers on this one.
Yes, Nick, you have something to address to the class?
Yes, I do. All I ask in the 4 hours is one thing.
Which is?
Either an assembly or like a team-up thing, or even like during the battle, they play the OG Justice League animated series theme.
I would love that.
Like it's either slow motion of them coming together, or they're like fast-paced battle, and it's like a faster version of it. I would love it.
I would love to see it. And Kearns goes on to say, speaking of musical cues featured within this film, he says, I could see it potentially being like the Batman '89 theme that was featured within the theatrical cut of Justice League, with the JLU theme being thrown in to Zack Snyder's version for good measure. Josh says, I just want to hear Hans Zimmer's Superman theme back after Whedon axed it within the theatrical cut of the film.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic because who
Hans
doesn't
Zimmer
love Hans
is
Zimmer?
Unreal.
Dude, Hans Zimmer's he's awesome.
That's going to be the nice touch to make epic things even more epic. Hands down.
Hans Zimmer, we love you. Just saying. Great composer.
Anything.
Great composer.
I'm calling it now. They confront the team confronts Darkseid without Superman, and all of a sudden Darkseid looks at him and he's like, you're brave for facing me alone. And all of a sudden he hears over his shoulder, they're not alone, and he turns and he just sees a silhouette of Superman in the sun lowering down to him with his eyes starting to glow. And I'm like, oh boy.
Hey, fans can dream, can't they? Kearns goes on to say regarding run times, he says, I love how movies such as Braveheart, The Patriot, or We Were Soldiers were all 3 hours, and I never even realized the run time because they were so good.
Yeah, as long as it's engaging and good, 4 hours is justified.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
As long as people are like, holy shit, this is awesome.
No matter how long a film is, if you're halfway through it or something and you start checking your watch, it's because the movie started dragging and then you were taken out of the world, and then you just that's the movie's fault.
And Kearns agrees with something we stated about earlier. He says, I agreed. It has to be handled correctly within the 4-hour runtime.
Yes.
Yeah, it really does. It can't, but like, what's going to happen? They have to give backstories now to Flash and Cyborg. They don't have their own movies.
That's
well, you don't have to give too much away because most people know those origin stories, but then again, it would help with flashbacks.
You need something just because it's not like Avengers where everyone got their own movie, then they were put in the mix. Mm-hmm. They were just thrown in there.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
hopefully this giant movie will be a course correction.
Flash and Cyborg are. I know them to a T, but not a lot of people do. So they just kind of saw him like, oh, he runs fast and he's a robot. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the 4 hours, I think what's going to happen is the good first hour and a half or so is going to be a lot of setup, and then we're going to get just a regular length film of like what it would be now that we have these characters established. So I think that's why they're working with this 4 hour time
watch
period.
DC stuff all day now.
Yeah, right.
I just finished the animated series. Now I want to go back and watch Justice League Unlimited.
Well, they just put Justice League on HBO Max, so I might have to binge it.
There you go.
Like the series, not the movie. Absolutely not.
No, I know. I believe most of us here and those in the chat, we knew where you were going. So to address what was that, Nick?
Did we watch the old movie on purpose and then watch the new one too, so we can just compare and be like, this blew it out of the water?
Oh yeah, it's going to in some way, shape, or form. I feel like there's enough of a mentality built up towards the Snyder Cut that I think everybody's going to be going in thinking that regardless, it's going to beat Justice League no matter what. I'm going to be very astounded if it doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm going to be very astounded if it's just as mediocre, I'll say, as the original Justice League. But I just can't believe all the parts that are in play. I just can't believe that's going to happen.
There is so much hype; it is unreal.
I know
it is. This movie is coming out in just a little.
And this is a movie that
A little over a month.
People are back, dude.
Yeah.
This was a whole thing.
Because hardcore fans want to see what they love redeemed. So that's what we're hopefully going to get. And unfortunately, even though we got the trailer today, we still have to, like Ryan was saying, we still have to wait that full month, March 18th, baby.
It's March 18th.
March Madness. It's going to be so much fun. So the last question I have for the panel, and also final thoughts within this trailer before we wrap things up. Do we feel this film could potentially lead to us potentially getting a Justice League 2? Nick, final thoughts on the trailer, and do you think we could potentially get Justice League 2 down the line?
I do. I don't think it'll be as big scaled as this one because you can't get it much bigger than Darkseid. But I think it'll be like a Legion of Doom type thing because Joe Mangala, whatever his name is, thank you.
Mandela, yeah.
Joe Mandela. No, but...
That's a different person entirely. You were saying, Nick? It's the Mandela effect.
Please, I try.
Let Nick finish his thoughts.
He was supposed to play Deathstroke.
Yes.
In Ben Affleck's film, and he played it for the cameo in the last one. And he was actually supposed to play a part in Snyder's breaking out Lex Luthor. I'm saying Legion of Doom type because they have Lex Luthor, they have Deathstroke. Black Manta is right around the corner. You could go so many places with this.
Yeah.
And honestly, you could take back Joker because Joker people like now. He doesn't look like a weirdo who just wrote Damaged.
People are very hopeful, but they've only seen images. People aren't really on board yet. They have to see his performance first because also it wasn't just about how Joker looked in Suicide Squad. I mean, from the little bits that we got, he didn't really leave a good taste in our mouth.
But that was the problem. A lot of people just couldn't get past the look.
I totally get it. So there's different levels to this. Either some people are going to accept Joker because he has a better look, so they're on board, or people didn't mind the look, but they didn't like the performance. But that comes up to the fact that you didn't have enough time to get a feel for him because he was on screen for probably as long as like it would take to sneeze. Like it was just blink and you miss it. So hopefully we get a little bit more of him, so that way it could open doors for him willing to play it. As far as where the series is going to go, if there's going to be another one, it makes money at the end of the day, so they're not going to stop. But I can guarantee you right now that when they decide to make another one, we're not going to be reintroduced, most likely, to the same cast that we're getting. One example being Ben Affleck as Batman. That's definitely off the table. I feel like something is going to happen where he's going to be excluded from the story from this point onward, because I can guarantee for a fact that I'm pretty sure that it's been stated by Ben Affleck himself that he's done with the role. He doesn't want to go back to it anymore. So that's a 50-50. I mean, it's not always a guarantee, but that's one person that we're probably not going to see. But getting more independent stories from these characters, and again, Legion of Doom, like you were saying, Nick, I think that's the next route that they could go. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of wrangling up who they can to keep the story going. And some people are probably willing to move on from it and moved in a different direction in their career. So from a logistics standpoint, it's a little bit on the up and up. It's a little bit of a 50-50, a coin toss. But I'm very curious to see what they are going to do, because hands down, they are going to make something else, because you never stop with a cash cow like this.
The only way we're going to see Ben Affleck again as Batman is for like maybe 20 minutes in the new Flashpoint movie, because they're using that as their excuse for a soft reboot. Because Michael Keaton's doing the Jeffrey D. Morgan instead. He's doing the Thomas Wayne type, but it's Batman instead. And I'm guaranteeing you, when he comes back, like to the normal time movie's over, that's when you're going to see recasted people. Because remember, they were still having problems with Henry Cavill as Superman. Ben Affleck obviously doesn't want to do it. The only people who still want to be there on the top of my head are Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, and the Gal Gadot.
Yeah, I think
I don't even know if Ray Fisher was having problems too. So.
They might get nifty with it, and they might just play it into the fact that like we're going to use Ezra Miller's Flash as a key to opening up other universes, and the stories take place in other universes where we have the same heroes but different types of actors playing them, because it's different versions of them.
That's a big risk.
That is a big risk.
Pay off.
It could, but I can see how it can go wrong very quickly and not just look like a cover up. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Well, some of the last-minute comments I want to bring up here. Josh says, if you enjoyed Man of Steel or BVS, you're going to like this Justice League version. If you didn't, you won't. Just simple as that. Kern says he is sad to see Batfleck go. He is his second favorite, only to Michael Keaton within his book. So there you go. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this film is going to be streaming on HBO Max March 18th.
March 18th,
a month and change away. We are going to find out what Zack Snyder originally had in mind for the DC cinematic universe should it have gone forward. And also, at the conclusion of Justice League, is this going to lead into Justice League 2? Could there be more Justice League movies in the future with Zack Snyder and other people being a part of it and other members of that team being a even more bigger factor in it? We'll find out on March 18th. That is going to do it for this reaction of Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer that has recently dropped on YouTube. I want to thank everybody for commenting. I want to thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to all of us here at Neuroculture on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at It's Neuroculture. Check out our YouTube channel. Tons of videos are up right now. New videos are dropping each and every week. And I do want to address this real quick. This is a comment that stood out to me, and I want to take this opportunity to thank every single person who has liked, who has commented, who has subscribed to our channel. But this comment stood out to me. Kern says, really love your breakdown of this trailer. Great discussion of the DCEU from a fan who loves DCEU more than MCU. I'm not saying we're playing favorites here. I'm just saying that we appreciate all of you who watch our videos and giving us feedback like that. You guys are the reason that we continue to do this each and every day, to put out great content for you each and every week during these uncertain times. So thank you.
He's a preacher.
Yeah. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for watching. In the meantime, to everybody out there, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. And we'll see you on March 18th when Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, comes out. See you guys soon.
And make sure to comment on Facebook and